Alright, take three, because that time took 15 minutes to describe things. I think I kind of rambled a little too much. I also said too many times, but we'll try not to say So, we got a clock here, and it actually works. And we're going to sit here and watch the magic. Bam, turns 5:18, and that's fantastic, because it is in fact 5:18. So we're taking the original clock that outputs my numbers that I need, 0, 5, 1, and 8. And the PM is necessary for this clock because I wanted it to say PM. This clock might have a dot to say PM. I don't know. I can't use the segments because if I make a segments, I could make an A or I could make a P, but I can't make an M. So I could make a little segment in here that says P or A. That'd be neat. It'd be about that big. Or I could make a little dot like the old school 90s old school 90s clocks. That is kind of what I'm going for here. I mean, clocks are still made like this all the time because of how dirt cheap they are to make, but I digress. So, I made a segment decoder because I can't just feed a single number into this device because this is actually 7 devices. That's why it's called a 7-segment display. We got A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And I can't just send a single number into this because if I send 0 into this, it's just, well, if I sent 0 into all of these, it would actually just make them all blank. If I sent 1 into all of these, it would make them all on. If I sent 2 into all of these, well, it would just make them all on. So we don't want that. We want it to be separated. And I could, in fact, do this by using a 7-segment decoder. And I would plug this in, and what would happen is I would plug a number into it, and it would automatically display out. And I don't really want to do that because that's boring, and so we're not going to do it like that. What we're going to do is we're going to actually code it itself. And I'm not going to like walk through the coding, but I'm going to walk through the code. And so we have the original clock in here, which took the value of the memory in seconds, does some math to it to separate hours from minutes. Once it does that, it gets rid of 0 on the hour. If it's 0, it turns it into a 12. Basically just adds 12 to it. And if it's over 12, then we need to put the PM modifier. We don't need to anymore. Well, we do. Well, we don't. We can. We're going to, but it can and it does, but it doesn't do anything at the moment. So anyway, it moves on to unzeroing and PMing, and if I subtract 12 to make it unmilitarized, it'll double check and be like, okay, well, is it 0 now? No? Okay, we're good. If it is, okay, well, we need to add 12 again because it's not supposed to be 0. And I don't really have a better way to do that at the moment. There's probably a couple of ways to do that. Then after that point, we get to this section where it will separate the numbers, and that's all fine and good. We kind of went through that on the last video. It separates the left number of the hour and the right number of the hour, and then it separates the left number of the minute and the right number of the minute, and that's how I get those individual values outputted, and that's how I'm able to display them on the console, because they have to be single digits in order to be properly put out. There's probably a couple of different ways to do that as well, but it'll subtract 10 if something's greater than 10, and it'll subtract 10 from it over and over again until it's 0. And then that number that's left over on the side is going to be the number that isn't the 10 spot. When it's done with that, it's going to move on to the readout section, which normally would have been useful if we had all those little square boxes hanging around. We don't have those no more. So this could probably be erased. But it takes these values that it would have output in these 4 memory spots. This is the left and the right of the hour, the left and the right of the minutes, and it takes those and it puts them into a side piece of memory because we are about to screw those numbers up because they're about to get used for the segmentation of the numbers. So we start in the memory point that is just past the processor, which is neat because you basically just follow the memory and it will continue to add to these, well, not add, but it'll continue down the line of memory, like this is 65536, 65537, etc. 65536, No, 40. No, 6536 plus 7. What's 65536 plus 7? That's what this one is. Plus 14 plus 21. And that's what this selection piece is going to be doing for us. Is I tell it I need position 0, which is going to be the first number because computers count zeros. And we would much rather adapt than fight the system, because trying to get past that, you're just going to confuse the hell out of yourself. So just mesh with the computer. So we start in segment 0, and by telling it I need 0 times 7 plus 65536. Well, 0 times 7 is 0, plus that number makes this memory spot. But if we told it I need selection number 1, it would take 1 times 7, which is 7, plus 65536, which is, whatever. Call it plus 7. And that would be this spot, and it'll continue from there. So I need to select a spot. So we select the 0 spot, which in this case is this. This is 0. Don't ask. Then we call the selection, which selected this spot, which is the 0 spot. Okay, so then we go to the segmentization section, and that is going to clear all 7 of these memory points. And the reason there's 7 is because A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And we want them all 0 to start with, because when we start determining what number it's going to be, we don't want to have to determine all the zeros along with all of the ones. That's a waste of processing power. If we can just set it all to 0 at first, then we know that they're all starting on 0, and then we can just add 1. Actually, I don't know if it's faster to move 1 into the spot or just add 1. That's an optimization thing. I'm not worrying about that right now. So we compare the number that we're feeding into it now. In this case, we're feeding from those memory points that I told you about. They like, okay, so here's the 0, here's the 5, here's the what time is it? Here's the 2, here's the 4. And so we're going to feed the 0 in first to selection 0, and then we're going to feed the 5 into section 2, and section 1 technically, but the second section. It's going to feed that number in, and it's going to come down here, it's going to zero everything out, and it's going to compare what it's looking for, and it's going to, oh, it's a 5. Okay, so we need to go jump to the 5 section, which is down here, and it goes, okay, so in 5 section, we need to make A a 1, we need to make B, well, we're not doing anything with B, we ignored B, so R0 is A, okay, make that a 1, and then we need C, which is this one, we make that a 1, D is a 1, E, well, we're not doing anything with E, it's already a 0. We just want to add things to it, so, and then the F, G. Great, and when it's done, it returns, and it returns all the way back up there, and then it moves on to the next selection of numbers. It says, okay, now I need selection number 2, which is going to be, well, it's the 2 in this case, but it's the third section, counting from 0, selects it, moves in, checks for 2, it says, okay, it's 2, we can jump down here, A, yes, B, yes, D, yes, E, yes, G, yes. And so then we'll return back up, and it continues through, and blah, blah, blah. It goes all the way back to the start, and it does it all over again. So things are a little bit laggy, because it basically is repeating this cycle like 5 times per second, which is completely and total overkill. Complete and total overkill, completely and totally useless, complete and total uselessness. That's what we go. That's how we do. And I need to put a timer in for a delay or something. But as for right now, it's working. And that's all I really wanted out of this. I can't imagine putting this on a server and lagging them all out. They'd probably hate me for it. But yeah, it's done for now. I plan on making these... Oh, I'm stuck. I plan on making these little buttons. So they add to the hour and add to the minute, just like an old school 90s clock would do. You hold down, you press this button, and it's going to be a toggle, and you press the buttons, and it hooks them up. I kind of wanted to put an alarm in here, but I kind of don't. But that's fine. And then the power button will be able to turn the whole thing on and off, and it'll have a power plug as well. And then this little guy right here, well, I'm not going to spoil what he does, but basically I'll be able to plug him in, and things will be on their way. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to share the update on the situation here. It's looking kind of fresh, and I'm really happy with it. Bye-bye.